to Mark Gibson Shumaris channel. Accountant with designations CPA, MBA, CMA, ACPA, ASA, Australia. Enjoy learning!
So welcome to your updates on financial accounting and reporting. So today we'll discuss statement of comprehensive income. So previously we've talked about statement of position and also your statement of cash flows. No? So basically we're discussing the different financial statements. No, the fundamental part of your financial statements. No? So we've completed financial position, yung financial, yung statement of cash flows, and then today we'll cover statement of comprehensive income, um, and then we'll also go through the different notes. No? So at least makakompleto na is also yung changes in equity. At least we have a full review of your financial statement. No? So today, statement of comprehensive income. So again, no, the assumption is this is just a review. So you have covered this in your lower years, but then ang gagawin natin is as if we're doing it zero-based. No? So meaning we'll discuss all the elements involved. No? And since the statement of comprehensive income will cover a number of things that you have already discussed in your financial accounting and reporting subjects previously in your lower years, ang gagawin nating approach is whenever we've encountered, say, topic on inventory. No? So what I'm going to do is we'll include a separate discussion, no, on inventory. So I'll be including a recorded discussion in Big Sky. Tama, Big Sky kayo sabihin niyo. Sige. So since this is also recorded, ang gagawin din natin later on is alisin ko yung mga side stories para at least when you go through the recording, yung pure discussion lang yung makikita natin. No? Sige. So right now, I'm only using my laptop, so wala akong bigger screen. So kung medyo maliit yung appearance ng text, especially when we go through the different discussion problems later, please let me know. Paano ko ba? Sige. Ano ba ito alisin? Nakikita ko, ayan. Sige.
Ako na.
Sige. So, presentation of comprehensive income. So, International Accounting Standard 1 requires an entity to prepare and include a statement of profit and loss and other comprehensive income for the period in its complete set of financial statements. So, class, ang tandaan lang natin, when we're encountering the term statement of comprehensive income, actually we're dealing with two statements. No? So, number one, yung statement of profit and loss or simply your financial performance and other comprehensive income. So again, if you're being asked to compute for the total comprehensive income, then you have to combine the two. So meaning you have to calculate first your net income and the other comprehensive income. No? So again, when you're asked to compute for the total comprehensive income, it has to be you have to include two statements. No? So your statement of profit and loss and the statement of comprehensive income. But if you're being asked to compute for other comprehensive income, dyan kasi madalas nagkakaroon ng error or confusion yung mga students. No? So again, no, if you're being asked to compute only for the other comprehensive income, then you have to compute only the second statement, which is the statement of comprehensive income. No? So in this part, we'll cover yung different presentations. No? Kasi meron tayong tinatawag una, yung single statement of profit and loss and other comprehensive income. So basically with two sections. And the other one is two statements. Ito naman yung separate statement of profit and loss and yung para dun sa comprehensive income. So question, bakit why would the standard allow two presentations of comprehensive income? Well, the very basic answer to that is basically to make sure that we can understand sufficiently whatever is presented in the statement. Kasi nga, remember, no? If you can still recall in your basic accounting, we have qualitative characteristics, no? So those are yung faithful representation and as well as relevance, no? So also part of the yung sinasabi nating supporting or yung supporting qualitative characteristics would be comparability, no? Of course, when the entity decides to use single statement, yun consistent to be consistent with the accounting standards or accounting policy, it has to be this one and the same, no? In this period and in future periods. Now, paano kung halimbawa year 2 na you decide to use two statements? Again, that would be considered as a change of accounting policy, no? So meaning you have to restate, no? Later on we'll also talk about treatment of accounting change in accounting policy, no? But then when it's a change in accounting policy, ang tatandaan natin is you have to restate yung previous versions of financial statement. Kasi nga, imagine, no? Ang requirement sa atin is to present at least two periods, no, in a financial statement. So for example, we're doing 2021 financial statement. It has to also include 2020 statement. Kasi nga, ang requirement at least is 2 years, no? And of course, no, when you change the method of the presentation, you have to restate, no, 2020 as well. So yun lang muna, no? Sana hindi siya masyadong maliit, but basically in this slide, ito yung minimum requirement, no? Ano ba dapat yung makikita dun sa statement of comprehensive income natin? So basically we have the revenue, the interest revenue, insurance revenue, gains and losses from the recognition of financial asset measured at amortized costs. Ito, lahat basically ito. Now, what if, ito kasi di ba sinasabi natin minimum requirement, no? So what if during the course of your business operations, meron isang item or one or more items na wala dito. So all you have to do is add a separate line, no? And then include it in the statement of either profit and loss or other comprehensive income. So basically what the standard is saying is ito yung minimum requirement, but we shouldn't be confined, no, kung ano yung nandito sa list. Again, we have to faithfully represent, no, data to the users in order to help them in their economic decision, no? So like I said, kung wala dito, all we have to do is add it to the list. Okay, so figure 2.5, no? The good thing about this topic, no, so updates in financial accounting and reporting, like I told you before, I'm also doing my say studies, no, for CPA Australia. And it just so happened that financial reporting is the subject that I'm doing right now. So this chart that you're seeing in my screen, figure 2.5, is lifted from, ayan, lagay ko na naman yung source dyan. Paano ko ba ito alisin? Lagay ko siya sa taas. Ayan. So it's lifted from CPA Australia, no? So IAS 1, presentation of financial statements, no? So basically, class, ano ba yung component, no? Kanina sinabi ko na rin, ulitin ko lang ulit, no? Basically, when we're looking into the statement of comprehensive income, we're actually looking into two statements, no? So first one would be the statement of profit and loss, and the other one is the other comprehensive income. Ito naman, in terms of presentation, we have single statement. Pag single statement, combined, no? So you have first the P&L line, and then followed by the other comprehensive income. And of course, pag inad mo yung dalawa, you'll get total comprehensive income, no? So the other presentation would be this the two statements. So basically a standalone statement for P&L and a standalone statement for the statement of other comprehensive income. No? So siguro ang pinaka say advantage lang of using a two statement is you'll get to see it one page. No? So one pager siya. So at least if you're a user of the financial statement who get to be overwhelmed with numbers, baka makatulong kung separate statement yung nakikita mo. So again, the standards naman gives us the option to choose between these two presentations method. So in terms of expenses, nature or function? So again, no, going back to your basic accounting, paano ba dapat natin pine-present yung expenses line in our profit and loss statement? No? So well, the standard actually is requiring us to simply present it based on nature or based on function. No? So the choice between classification of expenses by nature or function is made based on whichever system provides information that is reliable and more relevant. So in effect, classification by nature means expenses are presented descriptively. So meaning, pag by nature, ito, examples are changes in inventories of finished goods and work in process, raw materials and consumables use, employee benefit expenses. Now, based on my experience, usually itong classification of expenses by nature, these are usually captured in a merchandising or even in a small and medium enterprises. Kasi nga naman, it's easier to itemize their expenses as to nature. So depreciation and expenses and other expenses. Now going to the sabi natin corporate side, again, no, based on my experience, it's more of classification based on function, no? And then there will be yung itemized naman will go through the notes to your financial statement. So for example, meron ka lang makita dyan, cost of sales. Ano ba yung breakdown ng cost of sales? C note 1. Ganyan. So, punta ka dun sa notes to your FS number 1, nandoon naman yung calculation ng cost of sales mo. Same with distribution expenses and administration. Especially, no, imagine, no, you're in corporate setup and then you're calculating your administrative expenses. There could be a number of lines there, no? So you don't want to really look into a financial statement itemizing all of those administrative expenses. Kaya usually nilalagay mo lang siya sa notes, no? So the face of your statement of financial performance, nakalagay lang doon administration expenses or your general and administrative expenses. Then C note 7, for example. Then when you go to note 7, nandun na lahat naka-itemize yung mga yung breakdown ng admin expenses mo. So IAS 1 also provides example of circumstances that would give rise to separate disclosures. Ano ba yung dapat na at bare minimum, no? Ano dapat yung meron ka separate disclosure? Kasi 'di ba sabi natin, there's always an element of professional judgment, no? But then the standard would require us, sige, pwede ka magkaroon ng judgment, pero ito yung dapat palagi nandoon included sa disclosures mo. So number 1, we have write down of inventories to net realizable value. Remember class, no? In the inventory valuation, we're actually doing it at the lower of cost or the net lower between the cost or net realizable value. There's also write down of your property, plant, and equipment to recoverable amount or reversal. Restructuring of the activities of an entity and reversals of any provisions. There's also the disposal of PPE, disposal of investment, discontinued operation, litigation settlement, and other reversals of provisions. No? So per IAS 1, paragraph 98. Okay, so now let's talk about the other comprehensive income. So it comprises items of income and expense, including reclassification adjustments no, that are not recognized in the P&L as required or permitted by the IFRS. So OCI is effectively the difference between total comprehensive income and the profit or loss for the period. No? So ito class, take note of this. Pag sinabi natin other comprehensive income, this is simply difference between the total comprehensive income less your P&L. Kasi nga naman, kanina, di ba, sinabi ko ulitin lang natin ulit, your statement of comprehensive income comprises of two statements. No? So you have your P&L and other comprehensive income. So when you combine the two, ang tawag natin doon is total comprehensive income. Total comprehensive income is the change in equity during a period resulting from transactions and other events. Take note, other than those changes resulting from transactions with owners in their capacity as owners. Kasi saan bang statement natin makikita naman tong changes resulting from transactions with owners? Correct, no? So sa statement of changes in equity, also a fundamental part of the financial statement. Profit or loss is the total of income less expense, excluding components of other comprehensive income. So again, P&L, yun lang income and expenses mo, excluding yung comprehensive income kasi nga there's another statement for the comprehensive income. Okay, sige. Components of other comprehensive income. So, unang portion, items not recycled to P&L. Meaning, these items, 5 items, actually 4 items will be sitting in your other comprehensive income. Meaning, this will stay part of your other comprehensive income, part of your equity. So we have number 1, gains and losses from remeasurement of defined benefit plans under IAS 19. So ito class, lagyan ko kayo ng acronym para at least mas mabilis din, mas madaling matandaan. So we have DEX, so defined benefit plan, equity instrument designated as fair value through OCI or other comprehensive income. And then ito, gains and losses of financial liability designated at fair value, profit and loss attributed to credit risk. And then finally, yung revaluation of property, plant, and equipment or other intangible assets, or we call it revaluation surplus. No? So again, if we'd like to without really going through a number of detailed analysis, tandaan lang natin yung DEX. So defined benefit plans, equity instruments, pero tandaan na, fair value through OCI, credit risk for the financial liability, and revaluation surplus. So kaya yung first 4, again, no, so for the components of the other comprehensive income, actually we have 8. No? But the first 4, yung sabi natin, no, items not recycled to P&L, meaning it stays within the other comprehensive income, stays within equity. No? So para lang matandaan mo yun, we have, meron ka na dyan DEX. No? So DECS. Next, we have gains and losses. Ito naman yung sa foreign translation. Then you have your financial assets measured at fair value through OCI. Gains and losses on hedging instrument in a cash flow hedge. And then finally, we have your changes in the value of time value of options, no, for certain option contracts designated as hedging instruments under IFRS 9. So ito hiniwalay ko lang naman, no? But basically yun na, yung una natin discuss, ito na rin yan. So, but don't worry class, no? So later on, we'll apply this in the different discussion problems. So pagbigyan nyo muna yung theoretical part, but later we'll cover also all of this concept. Ito naman, discussion problems. So, let's have discussion problem 1. No? So, siguro ang tip ko lang palagi is, ito siguro kung nahahawakan ko na kayo before, no? I always tell you to go through the requirements first before you read the problem. Kasi nga, especially in CPA board, mahahaba yung problem and yet very basic lang naman pala yung hinahanap. No? So, number 1 and 2, basahin ko yung requirements before I go through the actual problem. So, number 1, what net amount should be recognized in other comprehensive income? And the number 2, what amount should be reported as comprehensive income? So, wag magpapalito dyan class, ha? Pag-usapan natin yung discussion problem number 1. Jess, pa-confirm ako, nakikita na ba yung Excel file natin?
Hindi pa po, sir.
Sige,
Yung presentation po yung kita.
Share screen. Okay, so I suppose kita na ngayon, no, Jess?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, so let's have discussion problem 1. So we're being asked to compute for the other comprehensive income and comprehensive income. No? So pag-usapan natin yan. No? Time and again, palagi ko dinidiscuss earlier ano ba yung difference ng dalawa. No? So basically, binigyan tayo ng mga items that are found within your statement of comprehensive income. No? So yung first few lines, hinighlight ko siya ng yellow. Basically, ito yung nandoon sa profit and loss natin. So ito namang nando dito, nilagay ko lang din siya dito. No? So alisin ko lang to para at least meron tayo mas kita sa screen. No? Okay. So una, we have the income from continuing operations. No? So basically, you just have to compute for your P&L given are the net sales, of course, less cost of goods sold, less your selling expenses, your admin expenses, your interest expense, plus gain from expropriation of land, less the income tax. No? So basically, in column E, nilagay ko lang ano ba dapat yung function na kailangan natin sundan. No? So that's 2,300,000. So ayun, naka-formula yan para at least pag nag-review ka, when you go back to the Excel file and the recording, masusundan mo kung paano nakuha yung 2.3 million. Ha? Then of course, given is the income from discontinued operation. No? So per the standards, we have to separate income from continuing operations and income from discontinued operation before we come up with the total net income. Now, also in the standard, ito yung update, no? There's no longer extraordinary items, no? Kasi nga based on the experiences, and na-abuse daw yung use of extraordinary items within the P&L. No? So the standard basically scrap that extraordinary lines. So lahat ngayon is within the business course of business transactions na. No? So we have our net income of 2.9 million. Now, let's now calculate the next. No? Ito namang portion ng comprehensive income. No? So, tandaan natin, ano yung papasok sa retained earnings, yun yung DEX. No? So, we have unrealized gain. Isa-isa na natin, no? Unrealized gain on equity investment at FVOCI. That will go through the retained earnings. Positive kasi gain. Loss on debt investment at FVOCI will go to P&L eventually. So for 200,000, so loss, so that's minus. Unrealized loss on forward contract designated as a cash flow hedge, that's 400,000 P&L minus. Don't be confused, no? The reason why in column D, nilagay ko lang siya RE, P&L, and RE. So again, all of these items are part of your other comprehensive income. Just so happen that there are some lines here na pag natapos na, say, for example, itong debt investment, no? So once this was realized, it will go through the P&L afterwards, no? But yun yung DEX na pinag-usapan natin earlier, it will stay within your other comprehensive income within your equity. Kaya nga ultimately it will be added or deducted to your retained earnings, no? So yun lang naman ang difference ng dalawa. Baka lang magkaroon ng confusion, no? Bakit nakalagay dito P&L, bakit hindi ilagay dun sa P&L, no? Sinasabi lang natin ultimately, no, when that particular transaction transpired or completed, it will go through the P&L, no? So like ito, ang foreign translation gain, no? So foreign translation gain, nilalagay lang natin siya sa equity as reserve, no? But ultimately, when that foreign operation has expired or has ceased, no? Those that we have recorded in as comprehensive income, part of the reserves will ultimately go to your P&L, no? So it's just an example. So tuloy natin, we have a forward contract designated as cash flow, so loss, so that's minus. Actuarial loss on defined benefit, no? So DEX, diba? That's 300,000, so minus. Foreign translation gain, that's positive. Loss on credit risk of financial liability designated at FVPL, that's 700,000 minus. Revaluation surplus during the year, that's 2.5 million retained earnings, positive, no? Revaluation surplus, this has to do with your valuation of your property, plant, and equipment or intangible asset. So sige, isa-isayin ngayon natin, total lang natin. So kinuha ko lang ulit lahat ng mga lines dito. So the total would be 1.9 million. So tandaan, requirement number 1, pinapakompute lang sa atin is other comprehensive income. Remember, if it's other comprehensive income, kunin lang natin lahat ng mga items that will fall under the other comprehensive income. Now, in number 2, it's comprehensive income, no? So but it goes without saying, this is the total comprehensive income. So therefore, it has to be the combination of the two. So you have your P&L of 2.9, your net income of 2.9 plus other comprehensive income of 1.9. So kunin mo yung dalawa, that's 4.8 million. So just get the sum. All right? Okay, no? So I hope not this stage, given yung mnemonics natin ng DEX, no? So mas mapapabilis sa inyo kasi there could be also problems that will ask you, no, how much of the total comprehensive income will stay in the retained earnings, how much will ultimately go to your P&L, no? So ito yung mga sagot natin dyan, no? So this part will stay within your retained earnings, so meaning it won't be recycled to your profit and loss, but this part will ultimately go to your profit and loss, no, once the transaction has been completed. Okay, so that's problem number 1. Sige, let's have problem number 2. But this time, ang requirement naman is what amount should be reported as adjusted net income, no? So tandaan na, adjusted net income. So meaning we're looking into the profit and loss statement lang. Okay. So let's have problem number 2. So in problem number 2, let me read the problem. An entity reported net income of 7.4 million for the current year. The auditor raised questions about the following amounts that had been included in the net income. No? So basically, class, pag gantong problem ang pinipresent sa atin, all we have to do is check, no, each item. Tama ba na in-include? Kung hindi naman tama, dapat ibawas natin. No? So we have to exclude it. No? Isa-isay natin. Number 1, we have equity in earnings of an associate. 25%, no? But then, naalala mo, during your discussion of the investment in associate, sabi natin, if the interest is 25%, it's as if, no, being viewed as one company. So therefore, tama, no, that we have included it as part of 7.4 million. No? So again, I will be including a discussion on the investment in equity, no, just to supplement, no, our discussion on statement of comprehensive income. Kasi nga, the assumption is you already know these items. No? But then, to supplement lang yung discussion natin, I have prepared a separate discussion on equity investment. For the students enrolled in updates in financial accounting and reporting only, it's not mandatory for you to watch that recording. However, mas maganda pa rin, no, kasi ultimately iti-take mo yung board exam, no? So ultimately kailangan mo pa rin naman talaga yung really review or refresh man lang nung concept on equity investment. But for those enrolled in CPA review class, equity investment will fall under your financial accounting and reporting subject. No? So it will be part of the class schedule that I have provided with you. Number 2, dividend from investment in associate. So again, no, investment in associate, any dividends that you receive from your your investment in associate is recognized not as dividend income, but as return of investment. Therefore, it shouldn't be part of our net income. No? So it should be excluded. No? So therefore, deduct natin siya kasi nga in-include siya dun sa 7.4. No? So I hope nakakasabay. Number 3, unrealized loss on equity investment, FBOCI. So nakita mo na FBOCI, so dapat daw siya sa other comprehensive income. So we have to exclude it. And since we have included it, it's part of the 7.4 million, so we have to adjust it. No? So that's 550,000. Tandaan, kung loss siya, so kung loss siya doon sa net income mo, nakadeduct siya, no? So para ma-reverse yung impact, we have to add it back. Okay? Next, gain on early retirement of bonds payable. So tama, no? It's a gain on early retirement of bonds. So tama na in-include, so there will be no adjustment. Next, debit adjustment of profit of prior year for error in under depreciation net of tax. No? So later on, we'll also have another set of discussion or set of problem on accounting for errors. No? But basically, class, kung halimbawa nagkaroon man ng error in prior period statements, ano ba yung ina-adjust natin? No? So the adjustment will be on the retained earnings beginning. So, in this case, sinama niya pa rin doon sa net income, no? So, which is incorrect, no? So, therefore, we have to exclude it, no? So, that's 750,000. Next, loss from fire. So, tama na in-include, so there's no adjustment. Unrealized gain on equity investment at FVPL. So, tama na part siya ng profit and loss. Tama na in-include, no? So, there will be no adjustment, no? So, meron tayong an adjusted balance na 7.4 million, and then we went through each line. We found out that the dividend, the unrealized loss on equity investment, and as well as the prior period correction or error have been included, no, as part of the 7.4 million. So therefore, we have to adjust it. No? So the answer to question number requirement, no, in problem number 2 is 8.3 million. 8.3 million will be the adjusted net income. Okay? So that's problem number 2. Pag-usapan ngayon natin tong accounting for change in accounting estimates, no? So class, no, parang in reality, hindi naman kasi lahat ng items within our siguro in day-to-day course of business palagi merong documented support, no? There's always the element of estimate, no? And those elements of estimates are a product of professional judgment, no? Kasi nga hindi ka naman pwede mag-estimate kung halimbawa wala kang background, kung halimbawa wala kang data, no? Ano ba yung usually na ine-estimate natin? So we have bad debts. So for example, this customer based on trend, no? Out of 100,000 na in-extend mo sa kanyang credit, palagi 80,000 lang yung nababayad niya sa'yo. So therefore, the 20,000 will form part of your bad debt expense. So that's an estimate. Inventory obsolescence, fair value of financial assets and liabilities, the useful lives of depreciable assets, and warranty obligations. No? So these are some of the examples where estimates are necessary. Kasi nga, these are dependent, no, in different conditions, no, revolving our business structure, no. So again, paano naman yung treatment, no? So using estimates is an essential part of the preparation of financial statements. The nature of making an estimate means that as the new information is received, new developments occur. The estimate may have to be revised, no? So pag-usapan natin yan, no? Initially, di ba sabi natin si customer A, we extend them 100,000 credit, but out of 100,000, palagi 80,000 lang yung nababayaran, no? So 20% goes to allowance for doubtful expense, no? But then sabi natin yung year 2, we found out na itong si customer na to goes into bankruptcy. So therefore, what we need to do is essentially we have to estimate, no, our sufficient pa rin ba yung allowance for doubtful accounts given that this customer went to bankruptcy, no? Baka hindi na. So we have to increase our allowance for bad debts, no? So that's why sabi natin every time there's an new information available to us, we have to recalibrate those estimates, no? According to IAS 8, a change of accounting estimate cannot be recognized retrospectively. So hindi daw siya pwede retro. Gaya na itong template natin, no? Very retro. Kung napansin nyo, ito yung mga games back in the 90s, no? So Pac-Man, Super Mario, no? So I'm not sure kung naabutan niyo pa yan, pero yan yung time ko, no? So sabi natin, if it's a change in accounting estimate, it has to be prospective, no? We don't need to go back to prior period, no? So it must be recognized prospectively by including it in the profit and loss in the period of the change, current period, or in the period of the change and future periods, no? So yun lang yung tatandaan natin for accounting in estimates. So apply natin yung natutunan natin. Let's have discussion problem number 3. So let me read the requirement. What is the carrying amount of the asset on December 31, 2021? On January 1, 2019, an entity purchased for 5 million a machine with useful life of 10 years and residual value of 200,000. The machine was depreciated by the double declining balance method. Yun, medyo napaisip ka na agad, no? So, kinalkal mo yung nasa isip mo. Ano nga ba yung natutunan mo during your basic accounting? Siguro, I think first year or second year mo to. This is financial accounting 1, no? Ano nga ba yung double declining balance method? No? And then, the entity changed to the straight line method, no? Since we're changing yung depreciation method, this is considered a change in accounting estimates. No? So on January 1, 2021, the residual value did not change. No? So let's have problem number 3. So problem number 3, sabi natin, change in accounting estimate. Change in accounting estimate. The application is current and future periods. Isa-isa natin, purchase value, 5 million. And then the residual value of 200,000. Useful life, given naman, that's for 10 years. No? Now, the method, kailan na-purchase? 2019. Kailan nagkaroon ng change in method, depreciation method? 2021. So, ilang years na yung nag-lapse? Meron na tayong 2 years. No? So, that's from 2019 to beginning of 2021. So 2019, then 2020. So 2 years, 2/10. No? So, and remember, pag ang pinag-uusapan natin double declining, it's 2 over the life of the asset, meaning 20%. No? So year 1, ito yung long method. Muna natin. Year 1, we have the purchase value of 5 million less depreciation. Paano na-compute yung depreciation? That's 5 million. Multiply by 2/10. No? So 2/10. 10 being the life of the asset. No? So we have carrying value of 4 million in December 2019. Now, paano naman yung depreciation noong 2020? So that's 4 million multiplied by 20%. Paano na-compute ulit yung 20%? Again, class, double declining. So it's 2 over the life of the assets. No? So that's 20%. So we have a carrying value of 3.2 million towards the end of December 2020. But remember, beginning January 2021, nagkaroon ng revision in terms of the depreciation method. No? So from double declining to straight line method. Alam mo naman, pag straight line, ito nga lang siguro yung mabilis tandaan, no? Na depreciation method. Yung iba, kinakalimutan madalas. No? So pag straight line, it's your carrying value less the residual value over the remaining useful life. No? So in our case, we have 3.2 million less residual value. Sabi naman kasi ng problem, there is no change in the residual value. So that's 3.2 million less 200,000. Meron ngayon tayong 3 million pesos. Tandaan, the original useful life was 10 years. No? Nag-lapse ang 2 years, so meron na lang tayong 8 years. No? Para lang kung saan nakuha yung 8 years. No? So that's 3 million over 8 years. Meron tayong depreciation na 375,000. But tandaan, ang question sa atin is carrying amount of the asset on December 31, 2021. So therefore, 3 million less 375,000, the carrying value as of December 2021 would be 2,825,000. Again, in accounting for change in accounting estimates, the application is prospective. No? So we don't need to go back to prior periods. No? So all we have to do is make sure that the current and future periods will take note of those accounting, change in accounting estimates. No? So that's problem number 3. So let's have problem number 4. And then after this, we'll pause for a 10-minute break para at least makapag-stretching ka. No? So problem number 4, what is the total charge against income for 2021 as a result of the accounting changes? No? So medyo complex, pero isa-isa natin. On January 1, 2021, an entity decided to decrease the useful life of an existing patent from 10 years to 8 years. The patent was purchased on January 1, 2016 for 3 million, no residual value. The entity decided on January 1 to 2021 to change the depreciation method from accelerated method to the straight line method. No? So basically, class, no? The first part has something to do with the patent, with an intangible asset. Ito nung second part na binabasa ko, relates to your property, plant, and equipment. So on January 1, 2021, the cost of an equipment was 8 million. The accumulated depreciation, 3.4 million. The remaining useful life of the equipment on January 1, 2021 is 10 years and the residual value is 200,000. Okay, that's a problem number 4. So in problem number 4, ang approach na gawin natin is isa-isa. No? So let's have the patent first. Yung patent natin, we purchased it on January 1, 2016 for 3 million. Ano yung binago? Ang binabago natin dito is the life. No? So previously, it's 10. Pero again, no, a change in accounting estimate. No? So to reduce it to 8 lang. Pero tandaan, kailan na-purchase? 2016. So, ilang taon na yung nag-lapse? So, 5 years. No? So, 2016 to 20. Kailan ba nagkaroon ng change? Beginning of 2021. No? So, therefore, ang carrying value na lang natin would be 3.5 million multiplied by 5 years yung nag-lapse over 10 years, 10 years being the original life of the patent. So that would be 1.5 million. So tandaan ha, 10 years yung original life, we're reducing it to 8 years. We purchased the patent in 2016, come beginning of 2021, doon nagkaroon ng change in accounting estimate. So from 10 years, ni-reduce to 8. Ilan na bang taon na yung nag-lapse since we purchased it in 2016? So 5 years. So 8 years, less 5, so the remaining useful life would be 3 years. No? So that's 1.5 million divided by 3, so that the amortization for 2021 would be 500,000 pesos. So that's the first part. Puntahan ngayon natin yung second part. Second part is with the equipment naman. So itong equipment, well, good news is we don't have to compute for the depreciation using accelerated method kasi given na class yung cost, no? Cost is 8 million and the accumulated depreciation of 3.4 million. So therefore, as of end of 2020, the carrying value is 4.6 million. No? So kung meron kang 4.6 million from accelerated method, we're changing it to straight line method. Ang naalala mo, under the straight line method, it's basically your carrying value less the residual value. So divide by the remaining useful life. No? So that's 4.4 million over 10. So that's 440,000. So ang question sa atin is total charge against income for 2021. No? So therefore, 440,000 depreciation plus the amortization of 500,000 amortization for the patent. So that's 940,000. So that's letter A. Tandaan na, yung 10 dito class, this is the remaining useful life. No? So kaya siya 10. No? So that's 4.4 million divided by 10. So that's 440,000. So siguro ang key takeaway in accounting for changes in accounting estimate is you have to establish first, no, yung current carrying value before you apply the change in accounting estimate. No? So that's problem number 4. Okay, class. So let's have problem number 5. So in problem number 5, what amount should be reported as total depreciation for 2021? So an entity was incorporated on January 1, 2018. In preparing the financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2020, the entity used the following original cost and useful life. So for building, 15 million, 15 years. Machinery, 10.5 million, 10 years. Furniture, 3.5 million, 7 years. On January 1, 2021, the entity determined that the remaining useful life is 10 years for the building, 7 years for the machinery, and 5 years for the furniture. the entity used straight line method of depreciation with no residual value. Also class, no? So in this problem naman, this is also a change in accounting estimate, no? Ano yung nabago? Not the method of depreciation, but the useful life, no? So parang in reality, no, possible talaga na nangyayari to, of course, with all the estimates coming from, sabi natin, architect or civil engineer. They look into the building, also sabi initially 15 years, but then due to the structural design, also sabi ng architect or ng engineer natin, 10 years na lang. So of course, with that, we have to also look into look into the accounting estimates and account for it prospectively. No? So let's have problem number 5. So problem number 5, isa-isa natin, no? Remaining useful life. Ito is the original life. Original life, we have 15 for building, 10 for machinery, and 7 for furniture. Ito class, ha? Hindi ko naman hinulaan yan. Nakalagay naman yan sa problem natin. Original life, the remaining life, no, based on the original life, we have 12, 7, and 4 respectively. Paano na-compute yun? Remember, the incorporation was in 2018, no? So 2018, 2018, then 2019, and then 2020, no? So nag-lapse tayo ng 3 years, no? So that's 15 minus 3, so that's 12 years. 10 minus 3, that's 7 years, and then 7 minus 3, that's 4 years, no? Now, ano nga yung revised life, no? In 2021, sabi, for the building, it's 10 years na lang. Tandaan na, remaining useful life. For the machinery, it's 7 years na lang. So for machinery, actually, there's no change, no? But for the furniture, no, so from 4 years, naging 5 years pa. Okay, so isa-isay natin, kunin natin yung carrying value. So we have the cost, then the carrying value would be 12 million. So paano natin kinompute yan? That's basically the cost multiply by the remaining useful life based on the original life, para lang ma-compute muna natin yung carrying value. Of course, no, 'di ba sabi natin, pag na-establish na natin yung carrying value, saka natin apply yung change in accounting estimate, no? So that's 12 million. Compute na natin yung depreciation. So the depreciation would be 12 million over 10 years, no? So that's 1.2. Ito class, kung napansin mo, iba na naman yung approach na ginawa natin. Kanina long method, but this time we opted to use shortcut, no? So to compute for the carrying value, no? So it's just basically the remaining useful life over the original useful life to compute for the carrying value, no? Okay, so let's have furniture. So furniture, same then. So that's 3.5 million. That's the cost, no? Paano na-compute yung carrying value end of 2020? So that's 3.5 million multiplied by 7 over 10. No? So na-establish na natin ang carrying value. Compute na natin ngayon yung depreciation. So pansinin sa furniture, from 4 years, naging 5 years. So therefore, 2 million divide by 5, that's 400,000. Inuna natin pala yung furniture dito, no? So the correct calculation for the carrying value would be 3.5 million multiplied by 4 over 7. Finally, for the machinery, kasi itong machinery, wala namang change in the remaining useful life, no? So that's 10.5 million multiplied by 7 over 10 para makompute natin yung carrying value. Now that we have established the carrying value, we're now ready to compute for the depreciation. So that's 7,350,000 divided by 7 or 1,050,000. So kunin lang natin lahat ng depreciation. So that's 1.2 plus 400,000 plus 1,050,000. So the total of 2,650,000 or letter A. So that's problem number 5. I hope these are sufficient enough to have a solid understanding on how to account for the accounting, how to account for change in accounting estimates. Kasi lipat na tayo sa another topic, no? Topic on the change in accounting policy naman. So again, no, IAS 8 permits an entity to change its accounting policy only if the change is required by an IFRS or it will result in a financial statement providing reliable and more relevant information about the effects of transaction, other events or conditions on the entity's financial position, financial performance, or cash flow. No? So simply, again, no, there's there's the element of professional judgment again into it. But then there's also a requirement provided by a certain IFRS. No? So kung required ng IFRS yan, by all means, we have to follow. One good example would be the right of use. No? So before the introduction of the standard on right of use, lahat ng operating expenses natin, it goes through the P&L, no? But with the introduction of the right of use asset, we are now capitalizing it as an asset. No? Again, that's an accounting change in accounting policy as required by an IFRS. No? So the following are not changes in accounting policies: application of an accounting policy for transaction and application of new accounting policy for transaction that did not occur previously or immaterial. Paano naman yung application, no? So the application of change in accounting policy should be retrospective. No? So meaning we have to go back doon sa mga prior years financial statements natin, no? We have to go back. In so doing, we can form current financial statement which is comparable, no? Comparable to the previous periods, no? Sabi naman ng standard, kung hindi possible, dun lang sa hanggang kaya talagang i-manage yung retrospective application, no? So that's change in accounting policy. No? So to illustrate that, let's have problem number 6. No? Problem number 6, what amount should be reported as the effect of this accounting change in the statement of retained earnings for 2021? No? So basically in problem number 6 class, there's a change in the valuation method, no? So from FIFO naging weighted average na siya. So ito ulit class, I have a separate recording to illustrate ano ba yung FIFO at saka weighted average, no? So we have a topic on inventory accounting, no? Inventory valuation, no? So again, no, that's additional topic for all of you enrolled in updates, not mandatory. So it's really up to you whether to watch that or not. There will be no quizzes, no assignments, no, for those supplemental topics. No? So let me read the problem. During 2021, an entity decided to change from FIFO method, first in, first out, to weighted average method. Inventory balances under each method were ito, inventory balances. No? So end of 2018, 2019, 2020, we have 4.5, 7.8, 8.3 respectively under FIFO. Under weighted average naman, so we have 5.4, 7.1, and 7.8 respectively. Income tax rate is 25%. It's important, no, to include the income tax rate kasi we have to present it net of tax. So kung napansin niya class, nagbago, no, ng estimate ng 2021. So ang ginawa ni accountant, we have to review yung inventory balances natin. So bumalik siya as early as 2018. Bumalik siya as early as 2018. Ang mga balances natin, no, FIFO, ito ibig sabihin ito yung as recorded, no? So 4.5, 7.8, and 8.3. Now, dahil nga nagkaroon ng change, we have to go back, no? Sabi natin, retrospective application. So therefore, magkano na yung magiging inventory balances using the weighted average? So kung napansin mo, meron talagang difference, no? So we have to account for these differences, no? So let's have problem number 6, no? So kung napapansin niyo na class, no, the way we approach it is we're discussing the theoretical part first and then go straight to discussion problem, no, para at least ma-solidify talaga natin yung understanding of the concept, no? So I hope that works for all of you, no? So let's have problem number 6. So in problem number 6, tandaan class na ang change dito is change in the current period on the accounting policy, no? Pero tandaan, sabi natin retrospective. Since we're correcting retrospectively, ano na lang ba yung pwede nating galawin? Of course, the retained earnings, no? So, pag-usapan muna natin ano ba yung relationship ng ending inventory with our net income, no? Ito na yung pinaka sabi natin cheat sheet na naman natin, no? So if it's the ending inventory that we're talking about, it has a direct relationship, directly proportional to the net income. So meaning kung nag-increase ang ending inventory mo, the net income will also increase. If your ending inventory decreases, the net income will also decrease, no? How about the beginning inventory? The beginning inventory, it has an indirect relationship, indirectly proportional to your net income. So meaning, reverse. Kung beginning inventory mo nag-increase, your net income will decrease. Patunayan natin yan later on. No? Okay, so yung pinag-usapan natin change, no? From FIFO, ginawa ng weighted average. Magkano yung change? So 5.4 million less 4.5 million, so that's 900,000 increase. Next, 700,000 decrease. Then 500,000 decrease. Ito yung increase and decrease sa ending inventory balances natin. No? So tandaan na, this is a change in accounting policy, so therefore we have to go back to prior periods and restate their balances. No? So ano ngayon yung impact ng mga changes na to sa net income? So pag-usapan natin yung FIFO net income. 2018 meron tayong meron tayong increase in ending inventory. As of 2018, sabi natin, di ba? Ending inventory has direct relationship, so directly proportional to your net income. And this table talks about net income na. So kung may increase ang ending inventory mo, ergo, meron ka ring increase sa net income. Kung ang ending inventory mo noong 2018 nag-increase, ano nga yung impact niyan sa beginning inventory mo ng 2019? Siyempre, mag-i-increase din. Pag nag-increase ang beginning inventory mo, balikan mo yung cheat sheet natin. Sabi natin, ang relationship ng beginning inventory with the net income is reverse, no? So indirectly proportional. So therefore, in 2019, merong increase sa beginning inventory mo, so minus sa net income. Okay. Puntahan ngayon natin yung 2019. Yung 2019, decrease naman sa ending inventory. Kung decrease sa ending inventory, sabi natin, ending inventory has direct relationship with your net income, so decrease din sa net income. Kung nag-decrease ang ending inventory ng 2019, ergo, nagkakaroon din ng decrease sa beginning inventory naman ng 2020. Kung may decrease sa beginning inventory ng 2020, sabi natin, no, beginning inventory has an indirect proportional relationship with net income. So kung nag-decrease yan, ang net income natin will increase. Uy, class ulit-ulit na ako, para na akong robot ka ulit. I hope na iintindihan niyo yung sinasabi ko, no? Hindi naman, may Excel file tayo and then yung recording, no? So you can always go back. Now, pag-usapan natin yung 2020. So meron tayong decrease in ending inventory. Sabi natin ulit sa cheat sheet natin, pag ending inventory, it has a direct relationship to your net income. If your ending inventory decreases, ergo your net income will also decrease. Tignan ngayon natin yung effect niyan sa 2021. Dahil nga yung 2018 and 2019 net to zero, so no effect. Yung 700 and 700 naman ng 2019, no effect din. No? So therefore, ang meron lang impact would be the 2020 balance of 500,000 minus, no, to your net income. So multiply by 75%. Saan nakuha yung 75? No? Tandaan class, meron tayong income tax of 25% based on the problem. So ito lang isa pang tip, no? Do not argue with the problem. If the problem tells you to calculate for a 25% income tax rate, then by all means do that, no? Kasi there's a separate subject on taxation naman dun. Kailangan very specific yung mga tax rates na ginagamit natin. So in this case, 375,000, this would be the change in the statement of retained earnings for 2021. No? Kasi nga, yung kung napansin mo, kung i-record natin yung 2018, meron namang corresponding decrease ng 2019, no? So offsetting na basically. So kung nakita mo rin based on our table here, ang meron lang impact would be the adjustment for 2020 amounting to 500,000. Net of tax is 375,000 pesos, no? So that's problem number 6 on the accounting for the change in policy. Now, ito na. Pagtyagaan niyo ako, ha. The last item, no, for today's session has to do with the material errors in prior period. Tandaan class, it should be material error. Of course, no, accountants are also human being. We are prone to errors. Kaya nga palagi natin sinasabi, we have to be very careful kasi nga especially if it's a material error, it also tantamount to a financial statement not being accurate, a financial statement not being able to faithfully represent not reliable or containing irrelevant information. No? Remember, financial statements, these are being used by the users, no, to aid them in their economic decisions. No? Of course, if they're looking at incorrect figures, ergo, it will lead them to basically bad decisions, no? And we don't want that, no? And dahil nga tao lang tayo, meron naman tayong accounting for errors, no, in prior period. And of course, material errors in prior period, it has to be corrected either by restating the comparative amounts of prior period presented in which the error occurred, or if the error occurred before the earliest prior period presented, restating the opening balances of assets, liabilities, and equity for the earliest prior period presented. No? Kasi nga, basically class, the requirement is we just have to present 2 years naman in a financial statement. No? So just to have a comparable statements. No? So let's have problem number 7 on the material error or omission. No? So let's have problem number 7. What pre-tax amount should be reported as prior period error in the financial statements for 2021? An entity reported the following events during 2021. It was decided to write off 1 million from inventory, which was over 2 years old as it was obsolete. Number 2, sales of 1.5 million had been omitted from the financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2020. And then number 3, the provision for uncollectible accounts of December 31, 2020 was 500,000. During 2021, 800,000 was written off related to the December 31, 2020 accounts receivable. So let's have problem number 7. Isa-isa natin class. Inventory write-off. Inventory write-off is not an error. It's a change, it's a change in accounting estimate. No? Napag-usapan natin yan kanina. It's one of the examples, no, that we had when we discussed the accounting change in accounting estimate. Number 3, tumunod tayo number 3. Again, no, AR write-off is an accounting estimate. Yan din yung example natin kanina, no? So sa customer A, initially we account we provide for 20% bad debt, no, remember, no? But then that customer went bankrupt, so we have provided 100%. No? So that's an accounting estimate. Pag-usapan natin tong number 2. Number 2, there was an omission, meaning hindi na i-record. Meron ka daw sales transaction for 1.5 million in 2020, hindi na record. So that's a prior year error. So we have to adjust it. No? So the correct answer to problem number 7 is 1.5 million. The question kasi lang is pre-tax amount that should be reported as prior period error. So it's pre-tax, so that's 1.5 million. So wag magpapalit of class. Actually, ang palagi ko based on experience, ang palagi ko nakikitang problems in terms of prior period is they keep on including changes in accounting estimate na transactions related. No? So you just have to be very careful to analyze them para at least makuha mo yung tamang sagot. No? So that's problem number 7. Oh, actually, that ends our discussion for today. Yun nga pala, no? I still don't have my access to Kahoot, but hopefully, in our next session, ma-set up ko na siya so that we can also have a fun activity towards the end of the session. No? So again, in Kahoot, there will be no grades naman. There will be no weight. It's just fun, no? Engagement. Para at least medyo magising ka naman, no? Kasi ang balita ko, yung boses ko is very calm, no? So medyo nakakaantok, no? So I hope, well, if that's the case, no? So I hope nakatulong ako para antokin ka this afternoon. So that's all for today. Thank you once again for attending my class, and I hope to see you again in our next session. So if you have any questions, so you can send me an email to my personal email. You can also course it through your class BDEL, no, if you don't want to communicate to me directly. So yun lang muna. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you again next time. Goodbye.
This has been your instructor, Mark Gibson. Thank you for learning with us. See you in our next discussion. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya!